Hello, it's Jeanette with Amazing Paper Crafts. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am back with another video tutorial, and this is what I'm going to show you how to make. I'm still in calendar mode, 2019 calendar mode, so maybe the next couple of videos that I do will feature a little calendar. Now this calendar, it measures 3 and an eighth, I think, and by 1 and I think it's 1 7/8, but I cut it out with a die that's a little bit bigger. And so this is what I made with this little calendar. It actually stands up, and isn't it beautiful? Isn't that pretty? All the lovely colors here. And I'm going to be using about 2 or 3 different stamp sets to show you how I put this together. So if you want to learn how to make this little stand-up calendar with the little mini calendar, just stay tuned. I'll be right back. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of cardstock, and it should be heavyweight cardstock. This is Sahara sand. Put a little bit of glue on there. This is Sahara sand, and it measures 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, in other words, I just took you know, the 8 1/2 by 11 and I cut it long ways. And I'm going to bring out my Simply Scored scoring tool because I am going to score it in half. Okay, and that would be scoring it at 5 1/2. But I'm also going to turn it this way and score it because I needed I need to score just making a little tick mark at the 2 1/8 inch, okay, and that's so that I could make the little feet, and I know where to measure. Okay, so we're done with that, and I'm going to go ahead and fold this nice and neatly, and I'm going to use my bone folder to fold it really nice and crease it really well. Okay, and so right here I've got this little tick mark, and before I do any stamping on there, I'm going to use my everyday label punch, and I am going to punch so that it looks like it has little feet. Now what I did here, I just wanted to explain. I marked the middle of this, and how I did that is I just took up and punched a scrap piece of paper. I folded it in half, and then I lined it up and put a little tick mark right in the center here so that I know that that's the center, which I will then line up to the center of this. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on the right side. Yeah, I don't want to cut the fold. I want to cut the opening right here. Okay. That would have been bad, right? Okay, so I'm not going to be cutting to where there's where the little circles are or the little curves are. I'm just going to cut or punch just right there on the edge, right where that little rounded part begins, and I'm going to do that on both sides, if you could see. I hope there's not too much glare on there, but that's where I'm punching, making sure that I have it pretty exactly in the middle, and then punch. A little bit tough to punch through these 2 thick layers, but you could do it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in my hardwood stamp, and I'm going to do a tone on tone with Sahara sand. So I'm going to ink this up with Sahara sand. Now the reason I didn't stamp this first is because it's really difficult to see that little tick mark that I make in the center that I just cut off. So I'm just going to place this down as gently as possible and as straight as possible, and then I'm going to take a piece of this scrap paper, and I'm going to just press very gently so that I don't get ink all over my hands using the paper. Okay, I think that's good. And now I'm going to pick this up, and now we have our tone on tone. It's really pretty. I love this hardwood stamp, and that's this one here. Hardwood. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside because I'm done with that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is close this up so I don't get my fingers in it. And I am going to stamp It's a Beautiful Day. See, we got this right here. It's a Beautiful Day. And I've got that on my stamp positioning tool, my Stamparatus here. Okay. I know the magnets that it comes with, I don't use them as much as I use these big round magnets. It just I like those big magnets, but I just prefer using the smaller ones. They move around a little better. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and put this here, and I've got my stamp already positioned, okay, where I want it, because that's what I did. I positioned it here. Now I can do as many as I want to and stamp. And so we're going to stamp that with Early Espresso. Here, this is what I'm doing. I am just inking up right here. Okay, now this is a photopolymer stamp, so I have my pad right here. I don't have the new grid pads because now they're going to be available, the new grid pads for the Stamparatus. But what I did was I laminated a piece of the grid paper already, so that's helpful to me. I may be getting some of those grid pads though. I just haven't gotten them yet. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this down. It's good that they're making some accessories available for you with this Stamparatus, because you could always get the magnets, extra magnets, but the grid sheet now, that special grid sheet that's measured just for the Stamparatus, and you can also get another pad, and you can get some new plates, and I'll have that information on my blog. Okay, so I've got this stamped right here, and now I'm going to put this aside for now, because I am going to be stamping the flowers and the bird and cutting things out. And what I'm going to be using, oh, by the way, this It's a Beautiful Day comes from the Love What You Do stamp set. Okay, just so you know, put that aside. And now I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to be using this stamp set Petal palette, and I'm going to be using the flowers, the bird, and this little flower right here. And I'm also going to be using some of the dies to cut it out. So, oh, I already have them. I already have them on my blocks. And this one is block E. And I'm going to ink it up with, oh, what color is that? StazOn. The reason I'm inking it up with StazOn is because I'm going to be using the Stampin' Up markers, which are kind of like watercolors. They're water-based dye markers. And the StazOn is not going to smear when you use the Stampin' Up markers. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this little flower part here. Okay, and then on the other side, I'm going to stamp the bird. Okay, we're going to put the bird right here. And I've got the little flower here, but I'm going to stamp the flower in Poppy Parade. This is one of the old colors that came back. And I wasn't a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator when they first had this color out. So I think I'm just going to put 2 over here. And we will be die cutting these out. Okay. Just a couple. Now what I'm also going to be doing is die cutting this branch here from this die set. Okay. And that's just so that we can give it a little bit of fringe. You see the fringe on the card here. See that right here? And I just used a little piece of it here. So let me just color one. I'm just going to show you how I color, but I did do some pre-cutting. I'm going to use the Poppy Parade on the flower. I'll just use the brush tip, and I'm just going to go ahead and just, you know, color this one main big flower here. And I don't do anything fancy. I don't, you know, I sometimes don't even stay in the lines here. I'm very sloppy, very messy, unless I'm paying attention. But basically, I'm just coloring it in. And what I'm going to do is, just to give it a little variation, is I'm going to take the real red marker, and I'm going to just do a little tap, tapping with my Poppy Parade marker just to give it a little bit of darkness just on the inside. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then I'll do that with the rest of them, and then if I want to do that with the with these other little flowers, I just do a little tap and then just kind of scribble on the inside just to give it a little bit of variation. Or you can just color it twice, you know, with the same color and darken it up a little bit. Okay, and that's that. And now with the green, I'm going to take Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to color one of these main flowers here. I mean, these main leaves. This isn't a flower, it's a leaf. And I'm going to just take some Mossy Meadow, which I'm very, very happy came back into our lineup, because I had these Mossy Meadow markers, and I love Mossy Meadow. It's a beautiful dark green. And I'm doing the same little touch technique, and I'm just going to scribble down the middle to make it a little bit dark. And once I've done that with all the leaves and the flowers, it's so pretty. I'll show you what I have here, because I've already punched out and die cut all the birds and the flowers. So I colored the bird with a yellow, with the Daffodil Delight belly, and some green and some red for his head, green on his wings. And so here are my pieces. Okay, so now I have the two flowers that I need. All right, and I'm just going to cut off just a tiny little piece of this branch right here. This, I think I'll cut this part off right here. Okay, we'll see how that goes. And now I'm going to bring this back in. All right, and I have a little calendar. And like I said, these little calendars is something I designed. I actually designed these little calendars for this size project, or a project that you want to do that's kind of small. And I designed them on CorelDRAW. And it's a program that I've been using for several years, and it has a calendar macro in it. And so I'm going to give you a link to where you can go ahead and download a PDF file. I'll have that in the description down there, okay? But I have this calendar here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it with some Early Espresso card, which is about 1/4 of an inch bigger all around than this calendar here. Okay, now I did die cut this calendar with a little bit bigger of die, and the die is not from Stampin' Up, so I just wanted to let you know that Stampin' Up doesn't have any rectangle dies at the moment. I'm hoping that they will come out with them soon. So I'm going to just use some multi-purpose liquid glue, Tombow Mono adhesive, on the back of this. I'm going to center this the best I can on this little piece of Early Espresso. And this piece of Early Espresso measures, oh, it's about 2 3/8 by 3 5/8. I think that's the size. Okay, cutting. This die doesn't clean up the edges very well. Sometimes you might have a die that kind of shreds the edges. Just take a nail file and do this, and you get all of these little strings off of it. Just another little tip here, okay, in case your die leaves you with strings. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and use some more Tombow Mono adhesive liquid multi-purpose glue on the back of this, and then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere it to the front about maybe 1/4 of an inch up. Okay, make sure I have it kind of in the center. I'm going to take some no, I did have them. I'm going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to put Stampin' Dimensionals. I don't know what was on my plate when I cut that out. Stampin' Dimensionals on the back here. Okay, I'll put about 3 of them, and let me see how I did this one here. I'm going to use this as a reference. Okay, so I just kind of had a little bit of the top and the side hanging off, which is kind of nice. It makes it look more dimensional. So I'm going to remove the backer papers of these dimensionals, and we're just going to put it like that. I'm going to take a dimensional and put it on the back of the bird that I cut and colored, and that bird's going to go right here. I don't want to block any of the words here. And then I'm going to just take a little bit of multi-purpose glue, and you can use your fine tip glue pen here if you want. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. I kind of have to clean the tip off a little bit. I think I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet just so that I don't get glue all over the place. Okay. Now I'm just putting it on the stem here and on the little leaves right here, because some of this is going to be sticking up. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of put it like this. All right. Just to have it sticking up just a little bit. And then I'm going to take another dimensional, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a half a piece that's kind of along the edge right here. I'm going to take one of these and put this, because I don't need a full dimensional here, or I could have used the mini dimensionals too if I wanted to. And I'll put one right here, and then I think I'm just going to go ahead and just glue this one here. Put a little bit of glue on that. I could also use some snail adhesive, and I'm going to just tuck that under here. Okay, and now I'm done. That did not take that long, did it? It takes long to maybe color, but I didn't show you that part because that would have taken way too long. But anyway, isn't that cute? Aren't they cute? I just absolutely love this design. I actually saw a similar design on Pinterest. If I can remember the person's name, I will definitely put that in the description too. Okay, but she shared a similar design like this. But I absolutely love these stand-up calendars. They make great gifts, and I think what I'm going to do is give these to my hostesses for the month of October. Okay, and so if you are a host, or if you do place an order with me in the month of October, email me and I will send you for free the PDF file that you can download. Right now it's available for download in my Etsy store, but if you're a customer, I will give that to you for free in the month of October. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope I taught you something. And if you need any of the tools or supplies that I used in this video, please go to my website at www.geamazingpapercrafts.stampinup.net. I'd be happy to be your demonstrator if you don't already have one. So once again, I'm Jeanette with Geamazing Paper Crafts, and you make it a great day. Bye-bye.